The courtroom fell silent, then chaos erupted. A juror suddenly vanished. A flood of shocking texts was unleashed. Audio recordings whispered secrets no one was supposed to hear. For the first time, the jury watched what prosecutors called the freak-off tapes, raw, explicit, and allegedly orchestrated by Sean Diddy Combs himself. Drugs, sex workers, secret hotel codes, threats, and a sex tape blackmail plot. This isn't just a celebrity scandal. This is a potential criminal empire unraveling in real time. Day 24 of the trial didn't just raise eyebrows, it raised the stakes. And it might be the prosecution's most damning day yet.
Surprise move by the judge to remove a seated juror drew very sharp objections from the defense, and once testimony got underway, jurors were led through this trove of texts and internal documents revealing alleged drug. Down in today's proceedings, you know who I'm going to bring in. Law and Crime's in-court reporter, Elizabeth Milner, who's been there for every step of the action. Elizabeth, so good to see you. So before we get into the test...
Day 24 of Diddy's trial was full of chaos and tension. One juror was suddenly removed, and the courtroom got hit with a flood of shocking messages and recordings. Prosecutors are now saying clearly, this wasn't just wild partying. Diddy was running a secret empire built on sex, drugs, and fear. Juror number 6 was removed from the case.
I think the judge was kind of signaling that this that this specific juror was going to be dismissed, kind of hinting about this on Friday. But then he took into consideration what the defense had to say, as they made really an impassioned speech about why this particular juror was registered in Bronx County. He picked up the call to serve on this jury from Bronx County. However, there was this kind of this statement that was made to a jury staff member, just kind of out of jest from this particular juror, where he had mentioned something along the lines of, oh, the traffic from New Jersey is crazy, or, oh, I just had to travel all the way down from New Jersey, which kind of signaled to other staffers, okay, what's going on here, given that you're a juror from Bronx too, in the roving room, and how he might have skewed his answers in order to just stay on the jury. And so the judge said this is threatening the integrity of the jury process. So the defense brought up that the juror will be placed by a white juror, and the defense was kind of really adamant that they just did not want this particular juror supposed to be talking about this case outside. But then there's also the issue, this jury isn't sequestered. So I'm always kind of curious too whether or not they're getting a lot of it. It's been brought up a number of times in this trial. However, we haven't heard from this person or directly from whoever the sender was, and then to whoever the sender was sending that to, the content file name, and then the source of it all, which is essentially just where the government exhibit is. So that way, whenever the jury goes back to deliberate, they're able to kind of easily find everything because everything's all summed up into one.
The defense was angry, hinting it might be because of race. But the judge said the real issue was dishonesty. The juror gave different answers about where he lived, and it looked like he lied just to stay on the jury. That's a serious threat to a fair trial. Then, things got worse. Another juror got a strange text from someone asking if they were also about to be kicked out. That raised alarms. Was someone trying to mess with the jury from the outside? Then the evidence came in like a flood. Prosecutors revealed text messages, voice notes, and receipts from Diddy's own assistants. These weren't rumors, this was the real stuff. Messages showed how assistants were booking hotels for private sex parties, using code names like Wild King Night and asking women to wear costumes. Drugs were involved too. A man named Guido was allegedly delivering MDMA and weed. Diddy approved big payments, sometimes thousands, through his team. In voice notes, he demanded drugs, hotel rooms, and cash like it was normal. Cassie sent a message in 2018 that said, "I can't do the violent, scary kick-me-out stuff anymore." Jane, in 2023, said, "He threatened to release my sex tapes. I was high when they were filmed. These weren't just parties. This was about fear, power, and control." A government agent showed charts connecting Diddy's credit card to escort bookings, hotel rooms, and flight records. Some were paid under fake names, some under Bad Boy Entertainment. The money trail was huge, hundreds of thousands spent on these freak-off weekends.
Then there's another audio file. That same day, November 19th of 2023, Diddy's calling Jane and he's saying, "I really need your friendship right now. Call me back just to make sure you're breathing." And then Jane's kind of visibly emotional, or she is, you can hear her be emotional on this particular recording where she's saying, "I'm so effed up." Diddy says, you don't have to worry about nothing else. Please pray for me," around Cassie's lawsuit. So still kind of the winter time of 2023, where Jane also said that she was kind of heavily on drugs while these recordings were being recorded, and even Cassie, too. And so really they just kind of span from all over the place and all over these, particular dates, spanning from as early as, 2018 to as late as 2024.
What about drugs?
In one message, Diddy asked Cassie, "Are you horny? Want to have a freak off tonight?" Then it got even more disturbing. The jury was shown real sex tapes, explicit videos of Diddy, Cassie, and others. These weren't just leaked clips. They were matched with flight records and messages to prove who was where and when. The courtroom was quiet, but the mood changed. This was serious. There were also signs of witness tampering. A former bodyguard, Diddy, contacted Mia, one of the women who accused Diddy. The texts made it look like Diddy was trying to reach her through someone else after she'd already spoken out. Mia was so disturbed, she threw her phone away. The defense said Diddy was just checking in as a friend, but prosecutors say it looks more like an attempt to pressure her. Diddy's legal team fought back. They said the government only showed selected messages, ignoring the bigger picture. They said some of the women were willing participants, and some of the texts looked romantic, not abusive. One message even had Cassie saying she was excited to surprise Diddy. The defense claimed there was no proof of organized crime, just messy celebrity behavior. In their words, this wasn't racketeering, it was how famous people party. The prosecution is almost done. Next up is Brendan Paul, the man accused of being Diddy's personal drug runner. People are calling him the trial's biggest bombshell witness. After that, the defense plans to bring in HR staff from Bad Boy to say Diddy's assistants were just employees, not criminals. But at this point, the image of luxury, fame, and power is falling apart. And what's left behind is a world that looks a lot darker than anyone imagined.